Hey everyone, it's baze.djunkiii transmitting from Hamburg, Germany, back with a new video, and well, back with a new unboxing video, and probably a bit of a rant and a bit of like a ramble thing about the state of the vinyl industry and stuff. But yeah, I went to the post office today because I got a notification recently. But I got it on, I guess, Wednesday. Went to the post office on Thursday, I guess, and it wasn't. Tried to pick up a parcel. Which is this one, but that hadn't arrived yet, so I went to the post office this morning and yeah, I received vinyl. Actually not a promo this time, but it's promo related, so the story is as following. I received like an album, like a CDR copy of this album as a promo for review purposes, Mark Vernon's time deferred album on Gagarin Records. Gagarin Records is a label from Hamburg run by Felix Kubin, which I happen to know actually. Not we're close, but we've been running into each other like more often in the past. But well, the city is like a small place, and the experimental music scene is a small place, and we hung out with the same people, attended the same places, so you get to know each other like on like a surface level kind of. So I received that album. As a promo, reviewed that on my website nightsales.de. Review is linked down in the description box, and I thought, well, I really like this album. Well, that's the thing with a lot of promos I get, but and a lot of them like end up on my want list. But as you know, like no DJ gigs right now and stuff, and COVID and like the economic situations with artists and stuff within the last 2 years, a lot of them end on my want list, but they never end up in my collection like actually very quickly because, well, things and stuff. But this album intrigued me kind of, and I thought, well, I could buy this. So I headed over to the BANDCAMP side of Gagarin Records only to find out, well, they only sell the digital file, which doesn't do anything for me. So they had a link where you can buy this at Stora. Stora, I didn't know they still exist, but they used to be a label which was kind of related to the guys of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, which was actually a band which was released on Otaku Records, the label formerly run by the record store I work at in the late 90s. So there was a connection to Stora, and I thought, well, nice. Support Stora, support like Felix, support Mark Vernon, buy the record from Stora. I tried, but the only payment they allow is like credit card. And this seems like kind of sketchy, not in terms of the Stora label is sketchy, but the whole website and the whole like programming that they have going on was like, nah, I'm gonna opt out. I'm gonna look for another place to buy this album. So I looked around in Germany and I couldn't find anything. So I ended up on BANDCAMP, as you do, because Mark Vernon, the artist behind this album, has like some copies on sale on BANDCAMP. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna order this for the UK, from the UK. It's a full album, which would have cost me, I guess, I don't know, 25 euros. If I had ordered this from Germany, probably, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. But it was like, okay, 30 euros, 35 euros from the UK, kind of, well, you gotta take into account like postage that has been like going up due to Brexit, and well, the UK is not in the EU anymore, so it's like shipping to a third party country, so everything has become more expensive. I was like, okay, fuck that, I'm gonna buy this and whatever. So it turned up I had no notification on the parcel that I had to pay any import fees, and it was rightfully marked with like a proper like value of £5. So which obviously isn't correct, but as you know, try to avoid paying taxes as like long as you can, properly packed. And I came to the post office today, and it was like, well, we got like a notification popping up here. You have to pay like some import fee, another €7 on top. So it so happens that this album finally, instead of costing me like 25 euros, cost me roughly 40. So just because the German Hamburg-based label, so if I had like Felix's number, I could have rang him up and say, was like, hey, I'm gonna go to your place, or let's meet up somewhere and I'm gonna buy this. But no, the German label, the Hamburg-based label, isn't able to sell the product physically in Hamburg. The guys who are supposed to sell this properly in Germany are not able to provide a sufficient credit card payment, so people end up with like a lot of money for paying a lot of money for an album, which is pretty much interesting. So I'm going to link the review down in the description box. But what this basically is like a conceptual work by Mark Vernon, who is like an artist dealing with like magnetic tape, found magnetic tape, or magnetic tape he acquired somewhere, and with the, as they call it in the kind of like press info that came with it, like the ghosts, that the eerie presence of ghosts that haunt those like blank or found magnetic tapes. So he records those and like processes them a little bit digitally and like makes a collage out of them, and then ends up with a kind of like eerie, very minimal, almost like on the edge of the audible spectrum, dark ambient, death ambient thing, which intrigued me pretty much. So here it is, the flip side. I hope you can see this properly with the glare. And here is the proper front side, time deferred on Gagarin Records by Mark Vernon. There is like a total of 7 tracks on here, and they are pretty much intriguing. And if you're into dark ambient, death ambient, found sound, field recording and stuff, this might be stuff that you might be interested in. But if you're into like music with harmonies and all that stuff, that's definitely not the album for you. But because this is like very much super minimal music, and I wish I would DJ that kind of stuff more, and because I really like this kind of music. And back in the days when I still did my radio show, Die Nachtschwestern, on FSK Hamburg, on the like left-wing alternative radio station, I decided to leave in 2006. I had that show where I could play that kind of music all night long, and which was basically the main concept of this show when we started out. So we were like 3 people. Thomas Beck, aka TBC, the founder of the Wachsender Prozess label, St. Martin, and myself, and we were like all fans of like drone and like dark ambient experimental stuff. So this would have been like a perfect fit for a record like this, playing this in like an all-night show. We usually started at midnight in the beginning on a Wednesday, like once a month, and then we like broadcast it for like 6 or 7 hours, only like experimental ambient, drone, noise, crackly electro, acoustic stuff, and this would have been a perfect fit for that show. So I thought I could like give this a little bit of like a notch and of a support, and buy this, and of course unbox this, because this is an order actually, and not a promo thing that came in. And yeah, talking other things, the state of the music industry. We have all seen prices going up big time in the past year or 2 actually, and we all know why, like COVID and stuff. But turns out that we have another problem like rising right now, and this is a metallic problem, actually, a metal problem, if you will. So these stampers you need to press records are made of a specific metal that is called nickel in German. I think it's the same in English, because you got this phrase nickel and a dime in the US, I guess, for like a little bit of money. So I guess it's the same metal, but especially the metal that you make stampers of. And seemingly this metal is not traded anymore recently, or the trade has been blocked or embargoed or whatever. So what happens is, to my knowledge actually, that pressing plants are running out of that metal, and the people who do the galvanization process are running out of this metal, and stampers for new records cannot be made anymore. Or well, they can by some, but some other like people who made them have already stopped because they have been like running out of metal. And this turns out to be a problem, not for me right now actually, but for many labels who plan to do records in the future. And I expect to see more delays in terms of like production, and vinyl prices going up even more. because you pay like an extra fee right now because the metal has gotten so expensive and stuff, and because of this embargo, trade stop, whatever. And also this is kind of a thing that's also kind of to do with the Ukraine situation, I guess, because there is natural nickel and I guess gold and niob and stuff in the Ukraine, and they had like planned to sell the exploration rights to those metals to like some people, and they had like planned to like exploit those natural resources, but now the war comes in the way, so this will be not a quick solution for the problem. And what I expect to happen if I was to predict things, and if the production of nickel and the production of stampers really comes to a halt, is that well, people will still want to find new music, and there's two outcomes, I guess. The worst case outcome for the industry would be like a lot of people turning away from vinyl and going digital, which already has happened like over the past years, even though the vinyl market is still strong and the numbers are still rising in terms of percentage of the entire market of music sales. But the other thing which would be more interesting, I guess, is that people start to explore older stuff more again, especially on the DJ side and on the club music side, because usually when a record is like half a year old, it has its like 3 months of attention or whatever, and then the interest usually trickles down in terms of sales, and records get replaced in DJ crates pretty much quickly, and they're not played out on regular anymore. But this could turn out to be that a new generation of people who are like young, like in their 20s right now, start to explore this stuff from like 15 years ago, and the backstocks of the labels which have not been destroyed or recycled and are still sitting at distributors' warehouses or in some like basements or stuff will get more attention, and that both labels and record stores and like distributors will be seeing like an increase of backstock sales, of catalog sales, instead of a spike of new records every week and then the back orders trickling down like after a few weeks. So this would be interesting for many reasons, because selling backstock like opens up space in terms of like storage in like basements and also in distribution warehouses and stuff, and also would allow the record stores to, if they sell like I guess 15% of their old backstock within like a certain time, like half a year or so, that would free up money and resources to buy a new inventory and probably invest in more interesting stuff or in more underground stuff from that is not coming from distributors directly, but from smaller labels or from like mail orders or whatever, and restock their stores and restock the inventory with more interesting and intriguing music. Because if the mainstream and electronic music runs out of like new material, people will automatically like look to the left, look to the right, look to like not only techno, mainstream big room techno, but also look to minimal of like 15 years ago, look to house, look to breakbeat or whatever, and try to explore more music that they haven't heard yet. And if you are like branching out from your main genre you are into, that doesn't mean that every music, no matter if it's like freshly released or like 15 years old in, for example, breakbeat, will be a new music, a new release to you, whatever, no matter how old it might actually be, so because you haven't heard it yet. So yeah, this is like a development that is happening right now, and I'm very curious what comes out of that, like actually. And well, I am prepared. I still got backstock there, and in the worst case of like the nickel and stamper thing breaking down for a while, for a year or so, I could always consider repressing stuff that has been sold out, even though apart from the normal release, I'm not a big fan of doing that for certain reasons, especially with old releases. But that might be an option to introduce older releases that have been sold out on my labels to a new audience over the period of like a year or so if the whole situation breaks down totally. But otherwise, I got more options in mind to build a bridge, to bridge that kind of possible gap that will be happening and stuff. But if that happens, you will know first. But now I'm going to go into editing mode, of course, because well, there's other things to do apart from doing YouTube and editing stuff. I still got a mix I want to upload to MIXTAPE tonight and tomorrow and the day after, like Easter Sunday and Monday. I'm gonna be like big into reviewing stuff because there's been new stuff coming in and I'm very curious what that is gonna sound like. So Bass Junkie out for now. There's another video down there, I guess, or down there, whatever, and BANDCAMP, of course, linked here. If you want to go through some backstock vinyl or tapes and get some for your collection, of course. Now I'm going to go into editing mode and I'm going to see you in the next one. See you later.